So our next step really is to add the info button to our main view. Remember that the MyPad World app is supposed to display an animation of text flowing down the view, just like the My World app. And the user will be able to change the text either by tapping an info button, which is similar to the iPhone version, or in this case with an iPad, we'll simply have it tap the view itself. And we'll do both. And rather than use a flip side view the way we do in the iPhone app, we're going to use a modal dialog for changing the text and for setting the speed. But the first thing we need to do is add the info button to the user interface. Here we are in Xcode, looking at MyPad WorldViewController.xib, which is the nib file for the main view. As you can see, it's a standard iPad view of a full image with a status bar on top. Here is our view. Here its identity. And the file owner for it is MyPad WorldViewController, which are these files right here. Now what we want to do is add an info button to this view up in the upper left corner here. So we go over to our objects and we look at controls. And what we're going to use is the round rect button. It's a basic button that intercepts touch events. If we click, it'll tell us all about it. It implements a button that intercepts touch events, sends an action message to a target object when it's tapped. We can set a lot of the attributes of this button to be exactly what we want it to look like. So we're going to click done here, and we're going to drag the round rect button. But first, before we drag it, we're going to select view, and we're going to open this dock here and take a look at where we want to put it. We want to make sure view is selected, so we close that now. We drag to the corner here so we can see it better. And we drag the round rect button. Now guides should appear to help us place it. There's one guide, there's the other guide. We've now placed a very large round rect button. Now if we go to the attributes inspector by clicking here, or of course using view, utilities, attributes inspector, we have a type pop-up menu at the very top to set this rounded rect button to something we want. In this case, we want it to be info light. So we select info light. There's our info button, unobtrusive, hiding here in the corner. Now let's open the dock and see where it is. Here's our info button, underneath the image view, in the view. Now we're going to drag it even closer to the edge here, and we'll see the guides appear for us to place it exactly where we want it. Now that we've got it exactly where we want it, choose File, Save to save our project. Now the reason I placed the info button in the upper left corner of the app's view is that when the iPad is rotated either left or right into its horizontal orientation, the display orientation switches, the info button would still be in the upper left corner. Now let's test that theory and see if it's correct. We'll make sure it's iPad 4.3 Simulator is chosen in the Scheme menu, and we'll click Run to build the project, build success, and see our view. And sure enough, there's our I button, our light info button in the top left corner. Now if we choose Hardware Rotate Right, there it is. Our I button is still in the upper left corner. If we choose Hardware Rotate Left, and then Hardware Rotate Left again, it's still in the upper left corner. And the image still pops up exactly the way it should, not upside down. It's extremely important with iPad apps to design your app's view to take into consideration both the portrait and the landscape orientations. You know, that's one of the features of the iPad that truly improves the user experience with the content. That's actually why I chose this image, because if I do rotate right, you can see more of the sky. This is actually the way the image should look. If I rotate left, it's a little bit compressed, but it works. Another reason why I used an image like this is that it wouldn't compete with the color I'm going to use for the text. And coming up, we're going to add some animation to this view. But for now, let's just admire the view.